Okay, so resilience and mental health is something I am massively passionate about, and I could probably talk to you for about 2 days about that subject, but I have 10 minutes, so I had to really think very carefully about what to do. And Mental Health Awareness Week every year has a theme. This year the theme is moving from surviving to thriving. So I thought we'll focus on that for 10 minutes and see what that means to us. So here's my first image for you. Is this surviving or is this thriving? Surviving, yeah, absolutely. Does it look familiar? Is this how your brains feel sometimes, perhaps? Yeah? Yeah, that's how my brain feels sometimes as well. And I suppose what this says to me is that actually the way that we're working isn't really working very well for us. So I don't know about you, but I find myself sometimes working longer and longer hours to try and achieve more. And actually when I look back at it, I think, how productive was I during those hours? The reality is that actually probably not that productive. Yeah, I just put in extra hours. It didn't really achieve very much. So today what I want to talk to you about is the concept of managing your energy instead of your time, okay? So some of you might have come across this already. We're going to dip into it. We're literally, in 10 minutes, we're going to dip a toe into it. I'm going to give you some thoughts and some ideas around how you could do something different in order to manage your energy differently, in order to be more resilient, more productive, more effective in your day-to-day life. So think of yourselves as a battery. You probably notice that there are times when your battery feels quite full, you feel quite energetic, you feel quite on top of things, ready and raring to go. You may also notice that there are days, and Friday afternoon is an interesting time to be talking about this, there are days and times when perhaps your battery doesn't feel quite so charged. Yeah? Oh, people are going, yes, we recognise that, Sarah. Okay, so now tell me a little bit about your mobile phone battery. How low do you let that battery go before you plug it in? 20%. I've got 20%. What was that?
I love the 1%.
Really? You take it all the way? You take it, right, she takes it all the way to the end. But I got...
Doesn't it?
Anyway, who here would feel anxious if they only had 1% left on their battery? Yeah, okay, so what other percentages where's your limit?
20.
20? 20? Yeah, 20, starting to feel the anxiety around not having any battery. What about your personal battery? How low do you let that go before you plug yourself in? Completely flat. Completely flat. Yeah, way over. Okay, so it may help you to know that there are 4 areas in which we can create and use energy in our day-to-day lives. And they are physical, emotional, mental, and purposeful. So what we're going to do is just literally have a little look at each one of those and talk about some of the things that you might do to support yourself in terms of recharging that part of you. So let's start with physical. It's probably the easiest one to spot is your physical energy levels. What type of things do you do that help you to recharge or to maintain, sustain? Nap? Eat lots of sugar, okay. What's the problem with eating lots of sugar? You go there, you do that, yeah, absolutely. So what we're interested, that survival technique is that. What we're interested in is how you thrive in a physical way. So exercise, yeah, absolutely. Most of us know that if we do some exercise, actually we end up feeling a bit better after that. Yeah, a bit more energized from it, okay. What else? We had sleep came through there. Anything else? Sleeping and exercise. Hydration, fantastic. I look around, a few beer bottles around the place, so this is fine, but not all day. So yeah, making sure that you've got enough hydration. Here you go, let's have a look. So food, making sure that you're eating the right sort of things on a reasonably regular basis. If you miss breakfast, chances are you're going to have a big energy slump at some point in the morning. Yeah. If you're eating lots of sugar, chances are you're going to notice a big energy slump. So just thinking about how you maintain that. Getting enough sleep, sometimes challenging. Yes, it's possible to survive. When I look at new mum back in the workplace, it's possible to survive on 3 hours sleep. Absolutely. But then again, we're talking about survival, not thriving. So aiming for 7 hours would be a lovely thing to do. Drinking, so again, hydration, movement, so thinking about exercise, and thinking about that doesn't have to be going to the gym. Yeah, it could be a 10-minute walk around the block just to re-energize, just to recharge your battery. And this whole idea of recharging, how many of you notice, or how many of you set off in the morning? You get here in the morning and you set off on a kind of marathon approach to the day. You just keep going and going and going and going, and you get to the end of the day exhausted and go home. Yeah, some of you do that. Okay. So maybe thinking about approaching your day a little bit differently, thinking about changing that into a number of different sprints. So you work in a focused way for maybe 60, 90 minutes. You notice perhaps at that point that you're getting a bit fidgety, you're losing your focus, take a short break, come back to it. It's a much more productive way of going about things, and you won't feel quite so flat at the end of the day. Okay, so that's a fairly straightforward one. We know all that stuff, don't we? We know that if we don't do that stuff, we feel tired. If we do that stuff, we feel a bit better. Let's have a look at the other pieces. So I've grouped together mental and emotional, partly because of the time scales involved, but also so partly because your mental and emotional energy are quite interconnected. Yeah, the way we think impacts the way that we feel. So try this out for me. What do you tell yourself when you mess something up in front of other people? Okay, any advance on that? What do you rather than just what you say, but what do you tell yourself about that situation right there? You give yourself a hard time? Yeah? What's you going to share?
What do they think about me?
Oh, yeah, people must think I'm a right idiot. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah? What about when you're doing something for the first time and you're finding it difficult?
Ask a question. You're no good at this.
Yeah, oh, I'm rubbish at this. I can't do it at all. Yeah? What about you're called into a meeting with the boss and you don't know why?
What have I done?
Uh-oh.
It's different every time. Yeah, start to get used to it.
Just becomes the norm after a while, right? Okay, so have a little think for a moment. When you're saying those things to yourself, when that's your mental process in those situations, what are the emotions that are attached to that? Negative. Yeah, so things like perhaps anger, frustration, anxiety. And if we're thinking about energy, are those emotions that give you energy or are those emotions that drain you of energy?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So spending too much time in that kind of space isn't very helpful for us. Now, think about it a little bit differently. If your friend was experiencing those situations, what would you say to them?
Don't worry.
Don't worry about it. Yeah? It's the first time you've done it. It takes time to learn. Yeah? Anything else supportive and kind that you would say?
You're probably not getting fired.
Yeah. It's probably fine.
100%.
It'll probably be okay. So what emotions would you want to be creating in your friend by saying those things to them?
Reassurance.
Reassurance? Yeah?
Putting things in perspective.
Some perspective? Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
Positive energy.
Positive energy, yeah. So are those sort of emotions things that therefore give you energy as opposed to draining you of energy? Yeah, absolutely. So you see what I'm saying about your mental processing affects your emotional experiences? Yeah? And we are way kinder to other people than we ever are to ourselves. I'm sure you know that. Yeah, much, much tougher on ourselves than anybody else. Give ourselves a much harder time. So my message here, if the first message was be healthy, this message is be kind. Be kind to yourself. Stop giving yourself such a hard time. Yeah? This is certainly my experience of some days. On the left-hand side, yeah? How many of us spend our days and our time thinking about what's happening tomorrow, what happened yesterday, what's happening in the office when I'm out of the office?
I'm crazy for that.
Yeah? Is that your thing?
Crazy for mindful.
Is that your head?
That's just me. Yeah.
Mindful
Yeah.
with two L's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 7 L's. Yeah.
Totally
I love
chock-a-block.
that. I
Yeah.
don't know if I do love it.
Well,
but
we all hear about it.
Oh. So it's mind overflowing. So I'm lucky enough to have a dog in my life, and I think to myself, you know what? This is us. We go for a walk, and I'm thinking, oh God, when we get back, I've got that call to make, and I've got this to happen. The car needs an MOT, and all this noise going on in my head. And she's just walking, thinking the sun is shining. And this is a nice day. She is not worrying about whether I'm going to give her breakfast, whether we're going out again later, whether we're going... She's not thinking about any of that stuff. She's just there in the moment. How does this help us from a work perspective? Any ideas? Be more dog. Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely my message here. Be more dog. we spend a lot of time not very focused. We spend a lot of time thinking about all the stuff and being distracted by all the white noise. We'll be in meetings and we won't remember what anybody said because we were thinking about something else. So this is about focus. It's about paying attention, and that's, you would have perhaps heard a lot about mindfulness. There's a lot out there. In really simple terms, it's just about paying attention to what's going on for you and what's going on around you. And you can do that at any point in time. You don't have to sit in a dark room in lotus position to be mindful. You know, you can do it on a walk, you can do it at your desk, you can do it in a meeting, you can do it on your commute. Just take a moment, 1 minute, just to sit quietly, to not get your phone out, to not connect with the outside world, and just to connect with who you are. And you'll be amazed how much difference that makes to your mental capacity. Last one, purposeful. So this takes us to a little different level, I suppose. How many people here have set themselves a goal, perhaps outside of work or a challenge, something that you've really worked towards? Yeah? Give me some examples. Getting a new house. Running a marathon? Yeah, absolutely. Any others? Maybe doing some saving money, maybe doing something for charity, a half marathon.
Don't have any more children.
One step at a time, Travis, one step at a time. I thought I might walk a marathon later this year and see how that goes. So what does this concept of purposefulness give us, do you think, in terms of energy? What is it that having a goal helps us with, do you think?
Focuses your mind, gives you drive.
Focuses your mind, gives you drive, aligns you.
Terrified of the marathon.
But what does that keeping you terrified do?
Makes me run and hide, but it might not shock some people.
Okay, so for some people it might be motivating, yeah, it might keep them going. So there's something about having a goal, having a challenge that creates commitment, perseverance and determination in us. And those, when we're talking about resilience, those are really useful things to be able to tap into.
I find it makes me worry
Okay.
that I'm going to fail and not do it.
Just giving yourself a hard time,
I have
see?
like a few set goals that I want to achieve, and like I just spend my whole time worrying like, what if I don't? And they're my own personal goals. It's not like anyone could ever judge me because they don't even know what they are. But I sit there thinking, well, what if I don't do it? Like,
Well,
failed
my-
in life.
Oh my goodness. So my question to you, Matt, would be, what if you put all that energy that you put into worrying about it not happening, what if you put all that energy into focusing on the goal and actually getting
I
it
might
done?
actually achieve it. Maybe.
There you go.
I always
We're giving out free hugs today as well. So, okay, just to wrap up then. So 4 key areas and 4 key messages for you, really. Be healthy, be kind to yourself, be purposeful, and be more dog. Okay, thanks so much, everybody.